welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Friday. It's Christmas Eve. It's time for the Magic TV annual Top 10 Worst Tricks of the Year. That's right, I'm going to be bringing to you the top 10 worst tricks of 2021. This was a very difficult list to put together because there have been so many dreadful, terrible, awful tricks that have come out this year. But these are the 10 right here that have stood out as being the worst 10 tricks of 2021. Now, before I do this list, I am going to tell you that, there's many more. I've changed this list around quite a lot, trying to decide on the worst tricks. There's some that were on the list that I've taken off. To be honest, I could do a top 50 with the amount of terrible tricks that have come out this year. I want to know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that this is the list that I should be presenting to you? Or do you think that there's something worse that I haven't included? I'd love to know. But in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, these are the top 10 worst tricks to hit the Magic dealers' shelves in 2021, and every single Magic producer should be ashamed of themselves if they have made this list. Without further ado, let's get straight on with it. So, in 10th position, and the first of many Peter Egg Inc. products that's going to hit the top 10 list, in 10th, it's Frequency. Now, Frequency came out about 3 or 4 months ago. What is Frequency? Frequency is basically a vanishing phone. That's how Peter billed it on the trailer. It is a way of making a phone disappear inside a case. And the trailer is absolute crap, because the trailer tells you, oh, you could use any case and this and that and the other. What you're actually getting here is a gimmick that makes it feel and sound like the case is vibrating when in fact it's empty. There's no gimmick in terms of getting the phone to disappear. Basically what you have to do is take it out the case when nobody's looking and ditch it in your pocket. Which is an incredibly difficult thing to do anyway, but that's what people think they're buying. People think that with Frequency, they're buying a way to make a phone disappear, when in reality they're not. They're just buying a convincer. And it's so expensive. And with Peter's, that's the problem with a lot of Peter Egg Inc. products. He seems to have an obsession over electronics that don't really do anything. It was on last year's list that he brought out the coin to glass, which was a remote controlled device to make a coin appear under a glass. There was no point in that, and there's no point in this either. There's absolutely no point in it. You don't want to pay nearly £100 for a convincer, and then basically the instructions are dump it in your pocket when you're not looking. The other thing about this product that was just terrible and also misleading is the trailer proudly proclaims that there's lots of other uses for the gimmick as well. Well, if you count a 3-minute basically sequence at the end where there's somebody else that's kind of doing tricks to music, and no explanation, and just like tricks that, kind of just performing tricks to people to music, then maybe, but I like to think that if you're going to present this, you're going to have like a performance and an explanation. There's nothing like that. It's just basically a 3-minute trailer of other ideas that you can do. And the problem with it is none of these ideas work, because all of these little bonus ideas involve something moving around. So he's got this one where you hold a card and a piece of paper on the card starts moving because of the thing that you're holding that makes the vibration work. But think about this for a minute. Actually think about it. You can't market a gimmick by saying you can hear the vibration and you can feel the vibration, and then a second later saying, well, this gimmick can also be used to make this piece of paper move, because you'll hear it. Hang on a second, let me just take this card. Very good. Let me put this piece of paper on the card. Look, I'm going to make the piece of paper move on the card. It wouldn't fool a blind monkey. Peter may not be in the top spot this year. He's not. He was in the top spot last year. He may not be in the top spot this year, but he has numerous entries on this list. Peter Egg Inc., if you're watching this, and I'm sure you're not, but if you are watching this, seriously consider your reputation, have a quiet word with yourself, and try and figure out a way to release products that are slightly less shit. Okay, 9th position, we have 4-stack. And honestly, this trick is just absolutely ridiculous. I have a theory that the people that actually created this are on crack, because frankly, that's probably the only way that you could actually look at this finished product and go, that's good enough, send it to the internet. It is absolutely dreadful. What we have here is a way that is apparently meant to create the perfect ace assembly. And basically what you have here are instructions on how to do McDonald's aces. There's no difference. And then you have this final ending, which is what you're getting 4 stack 4, which is this playing card that you can show, and then you can kind of wave your hand over and it can turn into 4 playing cards. So you can have like an ace and have it turn into 4 aces. The problem is the gimmick is visibly bigger than a normal playing card. If a normal playing card is this big, it's significantly wider. And are you expected to like believe that that is a normal playing card? Hi, let me just take this card and put it down on the table. I know it's a little bit bigger than all my other playing cards, but nothing to see here. Nothing to see. Look away. That's fine. It's not a problem. And then you could achieve the same effect without even needing the stupid gimmick that doesn't work. With a little bit of sleight of hand. If you want to have 1 card turn into 4 cards when you wave your hand over, hello, there's this technique called palming. You might have heard of it. It's not that hard. Palm 3 cards, wave your hand over, job done. This is the absolute crystal clear example of a trick that solves a problem that doesn't exist. And this is an issue that you're going to see over and over again on this list. Magic producers start releasing tricks that solve problems that don't really exist. The producers on this list, the tricks on this list, they need to have a quiet word with themselves and start thinking more with their head and their integrity and less with their pockets, because frankly, this trick has been designed for one reason and one reason only, which is to make money for the creator, because no one's going to do this. It's going in the bottom drawer. It's terrible. Okay, in 8th position, we have Phone Appetite, and this one makes me a little sad. This one makes me cry a little bit, and the reason this one makes me cry a little bit is because this is Tenyo. Tenyo are meant to be better than this. You know, my childhood, well, not childhood, but my teenhood. Is that a word? I don't know. When I was younger, I used to love getting Tenyo tricks. It was such an exciting time. Oh my gosh, there's a new Tenyo trick out. What wonderful, clever method have they done this time that's completely impractical, that won't work in the real world, but is just super fun and super, you can play around with it. And although it's made out of plastic, you know, there's a reason why so many people collect Tenyo tricks. It's because as a magician looking at a Tenyo trick, it's incredibly clever. And then all I can imagine is at Tenyo headquarters, some horrible virus got released. And it didn't like make zombies or anything like that. It didn't bring the world into a COVID pandemic or anything like that. The virus that happened at Tenyo HQ made each and every person that works at Tenyo completely and totally dumb as a box of frogs. Because that is the only way I can imagine that this was actually sent to market. What you get is you get a mask, right, with a little face on it. Stupid mask with a face on it. I have no idea why they include the mask. The mask is not needed unless they're trying to capitalize on the whole COVID thing and go, you know what, we need a trick with a mask because everyone's wearing masks at the moment. I don't see any other reason. And then you have the trick, which is like David Blaine's bite out quarter, but with a mobile phone. So you take the mobile phone, you bite the mobile phone, and then you spit the mobile phone back together. You know a trick is bad when Ryland refuses to do it. Like when we were looking at this to do on the review show, Ryan was like, I don't want to do that. It's so bad. I don't want to do that. It's so bad. It's going to ruin my reputation. He was 8 years old at the time and he was worried about his reputation because he was performing this absolutely stupid trick. And it really is. The phone does not look like a phone. Thea, my daughter, has a toy phone that is more convincing than the gimmick that you get with this trick. You know, I say this a lot, but I'm going to say it again. This wouldn't fool a blind monkey. This wouldn't fool a 6-month-old baby. If a 6-month-old baby was crawling along on the floor and saw this, they'd probably go, and walk off. It is not a real phone. It looks nothing like a real phone. It looks like what it is, a piece of plastic crap. And then the trick where so you can't examine this phone. You got to bring the phone out. You can't examine it. You can't even look at it from most angles. You just got to hold it here and hope that people think it's a real phone. It's so bad. And then you're going to come over. You got to be wearing your mask because the mask comes with it and the instructions tell you to wear your mask. Why? I don't know. And then you're going to pretend to do the bite out thing, which is the same method as the coin, but because it's a phone, it doesn't look ridiculous. It looks absolutely ridiculous. Now, the coin works because you can switch the coin immediately and hand it out to them. With this, you can't. You bite the phone, You blow it back and then you put it away. It's stupid. It's absolutely, completely, and totally stupid. Who had the idea to market this? Why was this a good idea? Why are Tenyo taking their reputation, balling it up into a little ball, taking it, dropping it in the toilet, and flushing it and having it go straight down to the sewers? Why are they doing that? Like, surely they've got better tricks they can release than this pile of steaming poop. In number 7, we have Trio by the Other Brothers. Man alive, Trio sucks. It absolutely sucks. I remember speaking to Lloyd Barnes about this on the podcast I do with Lloyd, and he just couldn't be. He'd never seen it before, and he couldn't believe that the method is what the method is. Here's the thing: it's a prediction of 3 things. You have somebody think of a celebrity, you have somebody think of fruit, and you have somebody think of a. There's something else. An animal. So they think of an animal, they think of a celebrity, they think of fruit, right? And then you've got this FedEx envelope, and you open up the FedEx envelope, you take out the prediction, and it matches what they thought of. Sounds good, right? Let's go through the problems. Problem number one. They say that you need to force the first item, the celebrity, and they give you a method for forcing that. So fair enough. Even though it's a terrible method, let's move on. The second force, they don't even give you a method. There's nothing included in the project. They tell you various different ways of forcing it, but then all of them involve buying something extra. It's like ridiculous. Imagine I released a product and I'm like, hey, somebody can think of anything and you can make it appear in your hand. And somebody can think of any fruit and you can just make it appear in your hand. If the method was buy digital force bag, force an apple, palm an apple and do that, you wouldn't be very happy because you'd have to buy digital force bag and it's an obvious method. Well, that's what we have here. They're not giving you a way of, when a trick is all about 3 forces and one of the 3 forces, they don't actually include a method with the project and you have to go and buy something. That's what we call bullshit. Right? That's just absolutely ridiculous. And then you've got the final thing, which is a free choice. But because it's a free choice, you've got this giant FedEx envelope with about 1,000 different options in it, and you have to pull the right one out. Now, this envelope is massive. It's obvious that there's more than one piece of paper in there. If you were going to have a prediction and there was only one piece of paper, you'd fold it up and you'd give it to them at the beginning. You would not have a massive envelope. Anyone seen that Justin Willman thing when he's doing like colour match and he's got like an envelope and he goes through to look for lots of different, as if he's like trying to go through lots of different options, and then you pull it out and you go, look, I got it right. And then they're laughing and you pull all the others out and they're all the same, right? The reason that gag works is because people aren't stupid. Laymen aren't stupid. They know if you've got a big-ass envelope and you're just fiddling around in there and pulling one thing out, there's probably going to be other options in there. But that's the method. That's what this trick is. It's a big-ass envelope with loads of different outs in there. It's not like they've got a clever way to show the envelope empty. It's not like they've got a clever switch to show the envelope empty at the end. No, you've got 2 forces and a multiple out in a massive envelope, and one of the forces they don't even give you the props that you need in order to do it. This is ridiculous. If the Other Brothers' reputations weren't already in the toilet because of Summit, this would have put them in there. As it happens, because their reputations are already in the toilet, this is taking their reputations and burying them so far underground, which is a shame because I love the Other Brothers. They've got some great tricks. There's an elastic band trick that they released years ago that is my go-to elastic band trick when I'm actually gigging in the real world. They are clever. They are innovative. And you know what I think's happened here? I think that they're looking for tricks to release. I don't think that, I think that the first stuff they brought out, they love magic, they love creating, and they were coming up with this stuff that they've done for ages. Now I think they've got to the point where the well has run dry, and so they're coming up with any old crap, and you never want to be in that situation. That's where I was years and years and years ago with Red, and it is not a good situation to be in. And if I was the Other Brothers and they're watching this, and I'm sure they're not, but if they are watching this, my advice would be to take a step back. Stop trying to act, which I assume they have, as the Abstract Effects website has gone completely disappeared. It's no longer there, and the server says that it's no longer there, and the social media hasn't been posted on for months and months and months. I assume they're taking a step back. My advice would be reinvigorate yourself and your love for magic, come up with some really good ideas, and then come back and try again, because at the moment each trick just gets progressively worse and worse. And it doesn't matter how elaborate you make the trailer, it doesn't matter how misleading that you make the trailer, a bag of crap is still a bag of crap no matter how you package it up. Number 6, you have Origami Can. This is just stupid. This is the perfect example of a trick that has been released specifically to try and get magicians to part with their money. First of all, you've got this ridiculous origami thing that, like, you close it up and you see Sprite, and you close it up and you see Coke, and it's obvious as how that works, right? You can just tell that different sections open up. There's nothing magical there. And so the only magical thing that you have with this prop is once you've done a couple of changes with this origami thing, a can of pop drops out. And that's it. It's a production of a can of Coke. But how you make that Coke appear is ridiculous. You have a holdout that's built for your sleeve, and the can just sticks there onto your sleeve. So you have to be in the exact right position, and the audience have to position just perfectly for this to work, because if you're just slightly out, it looks terrible. The only way that you can make it work is if what they did on the trailer, which is just literally film it and keep filming it until you get it right. Yes, it could be for social media, maybe, but there's a million other ways of doing this for social media. You don't need this ridiculous holdout. Most people that perform on social media do it at a table like this. You need to be standing up for this. You could do a million different ways. It could be slightly off screen and you could bring it in. There's a million different ways of doing it on social media. This is designed for you to be stood up. This just doesn't work. And here's my theory when it comes to magic products that get released to the magic community. My theory is very simple. If there is no discussion on the project about how to get into this trick and how to get out of the trick, then it's obvious that they've never worked it in the real world. This is something that Ian Kendall said to me, and I completely and totally agree with him. Well, that's what we have here. There's no discussion on how to get into this trick, and there's no discussion on how to get out of the trick. It's just literally stick a can of pop to your arm, and then start the trick. It's terrible. Nobody would ever do this. I challenge anybody that's watching this that disagrees with Origami Can being on this list. Tell me, show me a video of you performing this in the real world. I guarantee you can't, because there is nobody who would be performing this as an actual gig. And plus, there's a million ways to make a can of pop appear, which are a million times better than this. There are so many better ways to make a can of pop appear. Off the top of my head, I can think of 10 or 15. This is a ridiculous trick that nobody is going to perform, and the creators should feel ashamed of themselves. Number 5, in the 5th position, it's Julio Monturo's first entry onto this list. To be honest, he could have been on here quite a few times, but this is his first entry onto the list. In number 5, the 5th position, we have Dorito Bite. You know what? Let's throw linking onion rings in there as well, because they're basically the same thing. Linking onion rings, Dorito Bite, we're going to throw them both in there. Julio Monturo seems to have this weird obsession with gimmicking food. So Dorito Bite, what Dorito Bite is it's basically Coin Bite with a Dorito. Why are magic producers so obsessed with taking Coin Bite and making them out of phones and Doritos and stuff like this? They're obsessed with it. So Dorito Bite is you take a Dorito, you bite it, you spit it back on. Fine. Here's the problem. It doesn't look like a Dorito up close. You could probably get away with it if you're on stage, but you'd need a very specific character to get away with it on stage. It's not going to really be something that would fly for most people. You can walk on stage with a bag of Doritos. Hi. It'll work for some people if your character's there, but most people wouldn't be able to get away with that, right? In close-up situations, this looks absolutely dreadful. It looks terrible. It looks like what it is. It's also on cardboard type material, so it's going to last not very long at all. It really isn't. It's badly made, and it looks very, very bad as well. And here's the problem. When are you actually going to use this? Are you going to go up to your next close-up job? Hi, my name's Craig. I'm the magician. Got a bag of Doritos here. Watch this. Anyway, let's move on with the next trick, shall we? Who'd like to see a card trick? Hang on, Mr. Magician, you've just spat over all your fingers. COVID! Like, who's going to actually do this trick? Who's going to actually do this trick? Who's going to go out with their fingers covered in Dorito dust and go, hey, pick a card? No one's going to do this. No one. Nobody's going to do this trick. Or what are you meant to do? Hey, my name's Craig and I'm a magician. Look, I can make a Dorito appear. Look at that. That's what dreams are made of. If you could really do magic, would you make a Dorito appear? No, you wouldn't. Would you bite a Dorito and put it back? No, you wouldn't. Trick sucks. And then you have linking onion rings. It's so bad. It's so bad. Rylan likes this for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because he's 9 and doesn't know better. I don't know, but he likes this for some reason. I will say that the onion rings do look better than the Dorito. They actually look like onion rings, but it's the same problem. When are you going to do this? Are you going to walk over to your restaurant booking and there's people sitting down and they've just started eating? Because everybody knows the best time to start performing magic is when people start eating, and you walk over to the table and you go, "Hi there, my name's Craig, I'm the magician. You, sir, I see that you've ordered the steak. Can I take one of your onion rings, please? Can I take one of yours, madam? Look, I can link these two onion rings together. My God, aren't I amazing?" No one's going to, or you're going to make them appear, or you're going to do them in your kids' show, because kids can relate to onion rings, can't they? Where are you going to do this? Just because something can be done, just because you can take an onion ring and gimmick it to look like they're linking together, doesn't mean that it's actually needed in the magic marketplace. The polo mint, which I'm sure this was actually based on, linking two polo mints together, that made sense. Because two polo mints linking together, you can carry some polos with you, you can link them together, you can even switch them out and give them out or whatever. It makes sense having polo mints linked together. It's something that can fit in your pocket. As far as I'm aware, most people don't carry some fried onion rings in their pocket in case they're hungry and they need a snack. Just because, Julio, I really hope you're listening to this. Just because something can be done doesn't mean it should be done. We've got Dorito Bite. We've got linking onion rings. What we're going to have next? Growing French fries? What other classic plots of magic are you going to apply for food? Because really, we don't want it. Nobody wants it. Stop making them. And in fourth place, it's Peter Egging. He's back again with entry number 2. Spoiler, it's not the only time you're going to see Peter on this list. In fourth position, we have Ghost Pips. It's terrible. It's so bad. It's just beyond bad. It's awful. What we have here is a card change. So you have a card that changes into another card. The pips move and create a different card, right? But the method is just ridiculous. You have to put it inside a see-through bag. And the reason you have to put it inside a see-through bag is because if they actually look at the gimmick, they're going to see what's going on. So you have to put it inside a see-through bag, and then that makes the whole handling for it convoluted. And as with most Peter Egging tricks, it's incredibly expensive. It's incredibly expensive for what it is that you're getting. And here's the thing. I genuinely think that if people bring out magic, they need to bring out magic that actually furthers the art. If it doesn't do anything that other tricks, if it doesn't improve tricks that are already on the market that do the same thing, why bring it out? Well, there's other tricks on the market where pips move in order to make a different card, and you don't need to put them in the bag, and it doesn't include a convoluted handling. So why did Peter create this? Why? Why did he create this? Nobody wanted it. Nobody needed it. Hell, to be honest, you could do the same thing with a shapeshifter change or a double lift, or a top change, or any other colour change that you want to do, or an Erdnase change, or whatever. There's a million different ways that you can actually achieve this same thing. And from a layman's point of view, if I walk up to somebody with a regular deck of cards and have everything examined and it's all in full view, and I do a shapeshifter change, and then he comes across with his crap little gimmick and does this, no one's going to think that's better. Especially when they can't examine it unless you do some dodgy little move. It's terrible. It's not good. It's the perfect example of Peter Egging as a creator. I honestly think that Peter has got to a point where he's just creating stuff for the sake of it, and he just doesn't care anymore. And Peter, as somebody who really respects your body of work from years gone by, I really think that you need to have a quiet word with yourself, because you're harming your reputation. You really are. I've been reviewing products on Magic TV now for 1.5 years, and I am yet to review a product from Peter Egging that is anything less than pants. And that should tell you something. You really need to recapture the lightning that you put in a bottle all those years ago, else your name's going to become a laughing stock. And in third place, he's back for his third and final entry on the list. That's right, Peter Egging is back again, this time with Quantum Bend. So what is Quantum Bend? Quantum Bend is a spoon bend, right? Now, it uses a tiny little spoon. I mean, it's the smallest spoon you've ever seen in the entire history of spoons. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny little spoon. And what happens is you take this tiny, tiny, tiny little spoon and you hold it here and you bend it, and it bends on like a sideways bend, and then it unbends. Now, first of all, Peter's very, 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 very shady when it comes to his trailers. Like, we know this, right? I talked in great detail about his eye candy trailer, where I am absolutely convinced that his daughter, who was watching the trick, was completely in on it because, frankly, her acting wasn't very good at all. But this took it to a whole new level. If you look at the trailer, if you look at the if you look at the Quantum Bend trailer, at the beginning there's a moment where he bends the spoon and then it unbends and it goes straight. Watch the video footage. He's just reversed the footage. He's just reversed the footage. And people might go, yes, but you can do that. Well, if you can do that, why didn't he do that? Why didn't he do that on the trailer? Why did he just reverse the footage? And you can just tell. Look at the shadows. Look at everything. He just reversed the footage. I would love to see him perform this in the real world. I challenge Peter to go out and perform this live to a group of people. It's just an awful trick. But even if it was an awesome trick, there's millions of different ways of doing spoon bends. There's millions of different ways. Like, is this better than liquid metal? No. With liquid metal, I can take a normal fork or a gimmicked fork if I'm going to use a liquid fork or something like that, and I can take that fork and I can do multiple bends, finishing up with something that I can give them as a souvenir. With this, I have to use the spoon that I've got. I can't use their spoon. I can maybe switch a spoon that they've got for my spoon, but the spoon's tiny. It wouldn't match any of the spoon in any other venue that I know about. And then I've got to have a gimmick with me the whole time. And then I've got to do this convoluted procedure, which is going to make it look like it's bent, but it's not really. And then I don't care how good you do it, you can't make it go straight anywhere near as good as Peter does it, because Peter uses camera trickery. And then you give it out, but you can't let them keep it because you need the spoon for later on. It's just terrible. It's a terrible trick. It's a perfect example of Peter Egging lying to his customers because he would rather provide a dishonest trailer that will sell a few extra copies than actually spend the time and effort creating something that is actually good that he can then go and sell to people and they will be happy with it. Why are so many people all over the internet, Magic Cafe, Facebook, Reddit, everywhere, why are so many people pissed off with Peter Egging? It's because of his shady trailers and his substandard tricks. And honestly, you need to have a quiet word with yourself. Okay, second place, the second worst trick of 2021. We have Solid by Julio Monturo. That's right, it's Julio's third entry onto this list. Solid by Julio Monturo, one of the worst tricks that I have ever seen. So what is Solid? It is a coin in can. You take it's not, sorry, that's my bad. It's a key in can. You take a key off your key ring, you throw it into the can, and then that's it, really. That's what it is. It's a key in a can, right? The trailer, again, is very, very misleading. People are left with the impression it's a borrowed key, which it's not. Then it's basically Prohibition Monty. Not Prohibition Monty, that's Alan Rosen. It's basically Prohibition by Charlie Justice. So you take the key, you put the key inside the can, you then tip the key out, and the keys come out, and then you throw it in. There's a few problems with this. First of all, it won't work the same way as Prohibition Monty, so you need a little gimmick. The gimmick is made out of plastic. It's obviously going to fall apart very, very soon, but you have this little gimmick, and the gimmick has got double-sided tape on it. Right, well, it hasn't. You have to put your own double-sided tape on it. So you put double-sided tape on the gimmick, and then the whole idea is you keep it in the pocket until you need it. Well, if you've got double-sided tape on a gimmick that's in your pocket, you by the time you go and perform it at whatever gig that you're planning on doing it on, you take it out. It's probably got fluff or stuff on it, so it's not going to stick to the can like it's meant to. And this is a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier. There's no talk on the tutorial of how to get into this or how to get out of this. If you're doing it in a studio setting, you can have it set up with double-sided tape, show it's palmed, add it to the can, and that's absolutely fine. But that won't work in the real world, and it shows me that Julio hasn't really performed this very often in the real world, else he would have been addressing these issues. Then secondly, when you drop the key in the can, because of the method, you tip it out and immediately give it them to hold on to. Well, you can't do that. Because later on, when you throw the key into the can, it's almost impossible to get it out without some tweezers, some patience, and about 10 minutes. So it looks really dodgy when you give that can out and the key's in there. You gotta, the audience won't be able to get it out. So you have to then go, okay, I'm going to try and get it out. It's going to take me a little bit of time. it's just really badly thought out, and it doesn't look very good. And there's a million ways of accomplishing something similar to this that is way better. Sinful is a perfect example. Osmo is a perfect example of two tricks that you could get that are way better than this in terms of methodology. And on both of them, they talk in great detail on how to get into the trick, how to get out the trick. In my opinion, nothing beats Sinful. It is a borrowed can. It is a borrowed coin. It's anytime, anywhere. This is being put together because of that visual of throwing the key at the can and hearing it go in. But in order to get there, it's so convoluted, and nobody is performing this. I guarantee you there's not a single magician around the world that has bought Solid that is actually happy with the product. I might be wrong, but I very much doubt I am. And then you have the number one worst trick of 2021. This trick is so terrible that I actually snapped it in half in the middle of a review show. Like, I've never done that before. Me and Ryan throw a whole bunch of stuff in the bin from time to time, but I've never actually just snapped a trick in half, especially one that costs $200. This is what I did when I reviewed NPAD by S Magic. This doesn't even go in a bottom drawer. 200 quid, 200 pounds. I absolutely hate this piece of crap. I hate it. That's what it's worth. It's worthless. So why did I do that? Why did I snap a pad in half in a fit of rage and throw it across the room into the bin? Why did I do that? I did that because I'm absolutely sick and tired of creators and production companies bringing out tricks that are so ridiculously expensive and not fit for purpose. That's what all of these tricks have in common. They are not fit for purpose. This trick by NPAD by S Magic. NPAD is the perfect example of a trick that is not fit for purpose. First of all, the pad makes a ridiculously loud noise when the coin goes from one side to the other. It's a massive ka-chunk that just, you can hear it a mile off. Unless you're performing for an audience that is completely deaf, that will not work. Secondly, you can do it once, one time and one time only. You can't do it again and again and again. You have to reset it. And I've still got a scar from the reset even now because there's so many sharp edges. So you can only do it once, but you can't use this pad for anything else during your close-up act. It's not like you can keep the pad out and do a whole bunch of other stuff with it and do card routines and coin routines on it, because people will see that, it's going to be pushing, you just push down in the middle and the material pushes up and there's a button over on one side that's going to activate it. It's just, so you literally, if you're going to want to do this trick, you bring the pad out, you do the trick, you then put it away afterwards. Oh, I wonder if they'll figure out what the method is when you bought your special little pad out to do one trick. Well, yes, and it's not like you can do, they lie and they talk about how you can do matrix. You can't do matrix. They give the impression that you can do it multiple times because they show a matrix on the trailer, which, by the way, is not included in the download. They don't teach you this matrix. They don't teach you anything like that. If it's not included in the download, stop putting it on the trailer. You're lying. You're lying to your customers. Stop it. Just stop it. So you can't, they lie to you about that. You can't do that. And then there's the whole bag thing, which is half of the trailer's about the coin going into the bag. But in order to have the coin, you don't get the bag. No, you don't get the bag. But you do get sewing lessons on how to make a bag. Get yourself some material, get yourself a needle and thread. Now start by sewing the material together. I don't want to sew a bag. I don't need arts and craft in order to do a trick, especially a trick that's this expensive. I just want to be able to do it. And then the bag thing is so stupid because the bag is set up in such a way that you can't actually even lift it up off the table. Go back and look at the trailer. Why do you think they can't lift the bag up? It's because it's stuck inside the gimmick. So in order to do this, you have to have your pad set up and you have to have your little bag set up as well. You do your thing and then you have to tip the bag up forward slightly to tip it out. It's the single most impractical trick I've ever seen. And also, if you're going to use some people might say, yes, but you could do it on social media. The trick isn't even that impressive. There's a million ways that you could do that on social media without needing the bag. There and Back Again by David Regal is a perfect example of a way you could do that. Or just a flick move. You could literally have a coin there, cross over like Dean Dill, do the flick move, boom, you'd achieve the same sort of thing. It's not like it's going to look amazing for social media. All they've done is put together a trailer that makes magicians go, ooh, I want that, charge them their $200, pocketed it, and then they've laughed all the way to the bank. Every single magic producer on this list should be ashamed of themselves. But S Magic, I have never seen anything from you before. But you know what? You are the lowest of the low, because there is absolutely no way that you did not realize that this product was not fit for purpose. You created this product, you knew ahead of time that this was completely impractical and didn't do what you were telling people it could do, and you didn't care, and you marketed it and you sold it anyway. I think that the ethical thing for you to do would be to take everybody's money that you've scammed them out of, and to be clear, that trailer, this product, your ethics, it is a complete and total scam. And the only ethical thing to do would be for you to take all of that money back and give it back to the poor magic dealers, the poor magic producers, give it back to the customers that have spent money on this absolute worthless pile of rubbish that would not be suited for any venue at all. And I snapped your end pad in half, and it would snap it in half over and over again, because S Magic, you make me sick. So there you go. That is the 10 worst tricks of 2021. I want to know what you think. Tell me, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think there should be something on my list that shouldn't be there? Do you think that there's a trick on there that is good and I shouldn't have put it on the list? I would love to know your thoughts. One thing that I will say is this is going up on Christmas Eve, and I want to say thank you very much to everybody that has supported Magic TV over the last 12 months. I really, really appreciate it. It's a lot of hard work for me and my team to produce these videos, and when we read the comments and we see the feedback, that is what makes it all worthwhile to us. So I want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to every single person that has commented, shared, liked the videos that we put on Magic TV. You are the reason why we do what we do, and you are the reason why we will continue to do what we do. So guys, as I always say, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I'm going to be back again tomorrow on Christmas Day. That's right, we don't take a day off here at Magic TV. I'm going to be back again on Christmas Day and Boxing Day with another 8 videos. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig. Merry Christmas. My name's Craig from Magic TV.